is Ricardo, and I'm going to be discussing the workability and disadvantages of putting such a ban on animal testing. First, on the workability, I'm here to say that any efforts placing a ban on animal research will be completely ineffective. Now, I'm saying this because the people behind all this research in animal testing are pharmaceutical companies, or also known as Big Pharma. And Big Pharma is very influential in Congress. According to the website drugwatch.com, with the help of staggering profits and 1,100 plus paid lobbyists, the industry has gained powerful leverage on Capitol Hill. From 1998 to 2013, Big Pharma spent nearly $3 billion in lobbying expenses, more than any other industry, and 42% more than the second highest paying industry, insurance. And since 1990, individuals, lobbyists, and political action committees affiliated with the industry have doled out over $150 million in campaign contributions. Now, to put this in perspective, pharmaceutical companies spend more money lobbying than the oil and defense industry combined. More so, they heavily contribute to the budget of the FDA, which apparently is what the affirmative wanted to use to regulate. Again, on drugwatch.com, Big Pharma wields enormous influence over the prescription drug and medical device markets around the globe. In fact, in the United States, the industry contributes heavily to the annual budget of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which is charged with regulating drugs and devices made by those same companies. The industry demonstrates its power, political might, and social influences over the nation's governments and agencies, its healthcare systems, its doctors and hospitals, as well as the psyche of the American people. Now, these companies, if a bill would be introduced banning animal testing, these companies could easily cut almost all of the budget of the FDA, making the FDA powerless and completely ineffective. More so, if such an idea is brought up, research in animal trials can be easily done outside the country. According to a German article, several studies indicate that more than half of all drug trials worldwide take place in newly industrialized countries. Not only are these studies cheaper to carry out there, but many participants are thankful that they're being cared for in any way at all. The companies are lured by the prospect that established international standards are less stringently applied than they are in Western Europe, Japan, or the United States. Now, India has been one of these prime examples of this. Drug companies are drawn to India for several reasons, including they're technically competent, they have higher patient availability, cost much less, and they have a friendly government as well. And interesting enough is that India has already banned the use of animals in testing and already placed bans on imports on products used in animal testing. So how did they conduct research? Well, they used people. India was unusual. According to an article in The National, India is unusual that there is a large pool of uneducated people willing to take part in trials for a handful of rupees. Many of the trials were also subject to very light regulation, so that shortcomings were not flagged up in the way that might have happened in the US and Europe. Now, that's just one of the disadvantages that may come from introducing a bill like this. Another disadvantage is that banning the use of animals in scientific testing will have detrimental effects to our society. Now, animal testing has contributed and continues to contribute in many scientific research, especially in cancer, HIV, heart disease, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, and hepatitis C. Now, banning the use of animals will potentially halt all progress. So if animal testing were to be banned, we would likely never find any cures to these things in the near future. According to an article labeled Benefits and Ethics of Animal Research, they state that despite the success of vaccines and antibacterial therapy, infectious disease remains the greatest threat to human life worldwide. There is no effective vaccine against malaria or AIDS. Physicians increasingly face strains of bacteria resistant to current antibacterial drugs. New infectious diseases continue to emerge. It is hard to envision how new and better vaccines to diseases will be developed without experimenting on animals. More so, new products will be much more expensive for both the producer and the consumer. It'll be costly to test these new products, to develop new products, And the further regulation will spike up the cost of these. And it will drive up the costs in insurance, in treatment, in hospitals, in which people won't be able to afford such life-saving treatments. Also, these products will take much longer to appear in the market. Or for, let's say, a cure to AIDS, the time it takes to develop it using alternative purposes will cost more lives than it will save. And really, to not do animal testing would mean that we would not be able to bring treatments to the people that we need in a timely manner. And lastly, medicine may be less effective or cause serious side effects without animal experimentation. The perfect example is the thalidomide incident. Now, thalidomide was found to have an inhibitory effect on morning sickness, and hence thousands of pregnant women took the drug to relieve their symptoms. Consequently, more than 10,000 children in 46 countries were born with malformations or missing limbs. Again, in the article, Benefits and Ethics of Animal Research, scientists never tested thalidomide in pregnant animals until after fetal deformities were observed in humans. Once they ran these tests, researchers recognized that the drug did in fact cause fetal abnormalities in rabbits, mice, rats, and hamsters. So even for the ban of testing of animals, there will be much more instances similar to the thalidomide incidents, and this is not worth the risk. Therefore, we should uphold animal experimentation.